Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. As you can see, it's late afternoon. The sun is going down. I can just see it heading down over there in the background behind the trees. It's Valentine's Day 2021. It's the 39th Valentine's Day that I've been able to celebrate with my wife Paula. And I've just come down here to the park to punch out a couple of Jim's 5am clubs because I'm on a target to clock up 1,000 by my 61st birthday, which is in a few months, May the 27th. So in order to get there, I need to get through 4 or 5 vlogs a day. So I know I can do it, but I need to stick to my plan, and I need to stick to my quota, and I need to keep on just producing material and publishing material to get to that point. So today's book summary is an interesting one. It's a little bit scientific and takes us on a different sort of course, different path, but it is very interesting indeed. And the book is entitled The Moral Animal by Robert Wright. And Robert talks about how we've basically been developed and built up as a species from a scientific perspective. So we're not coming at it from a spiritual perspective, we're just coming to it from a perspective of evolution, from a psychological perspective. And the author here says that we are built to be effective animals, not happy ones. So our psychology, our DNA is designed in order for us to be effective. And the question is, why do we have morals? Why do we have guiding principles? And the purpose for that, according to the author here, is that we have these things because it serves us in an instrumental way, because it helps us survive. It helps us survive and look out for ourselves. It's interesting that I'm in a place here in the bush. Let me just go off on a bit of a tangent, because around about Christmas time, a few months ago, this whole area here, as you can see by the charred trees, was burnt by a bushfire. And I remember coming through here with my granddaughter, who was on my shoulders, and I told her there was a bushfire here, and she could smell the burnt timber and the charred remains. And she froze up. She was on my shoulders and she froze up, and she started to panic, and she said, "Let's go home." She wanted to go home. So what I can't forget and what I can't wait to do is to bring her back here and just to show her how in just 2 months, so Christmas, we're halfway through February, so 1.5 months, less than 2 months, this place has already greened up, and the trees have got their foliage up the top there. So it's not as bad as what it first appeared. It's just amazing how nature can come back quickly after a devastating fire. So that ties in well with what we're doing here. So it's almost as if I've choreographed this, because what the author here says is that as humans, we need to survive and we need to look after ourselves. So survival, the urge for survival, is passed on through our genes, because our genes allow us to have certain parts of our brain that have been developed over time to regenerate and to make us aware of certain things, or to be able or more capable of being able to sense things and to live things. So let's go through a few of the key points from this book. And he touches on some pretty sensitive sort of topics. And that first topic is jealousy. And it's jealousy, I guess, is a bit of a taboo subject for a lot of people. I know a lot of people who don't want to talk about jealousy because it's one of those subjects which really, really makes them feel uncomfortable. But let's see where this author takes us on jealousy. And he makes an important point here, a scientific point, that men and women experience jealousy differently. And we'll go through a couple of experiments and a couple of things that they talk about, which, raised my eyebrows, I've got to tell you. So the first point that the author makes is that jealousy is a natural emotion. So it's something that is natural and it's good, as long as it's managed and it's channeled, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. We channel any particular jealousies. And that men and women experience it differently. So in 1982, according to the author here, some scientists performed some experiments where they had people wired up, their brains wired up to computers, and they asked them certain questions and they got them to imagine certain things. And some of those things that they got them to imagine would have been fun for a guy, of course. I don't know about the girls, but I know a lot of my mates would have loved this sort of exercise. But the experiment was for them to imagine that their partner is having sex with another partner. And the outcomes or the readings were quite interesting. Because what they said was that men got really, really angry when they saw their partners, or they vividly imagined their partners having sex with another man, be it their friend, be it somebody at the pub, who knows. But that sense of jealousy, that anger, that distress really, really flared up in the men. But when men were asked to imagine that their wives or partners were emotionally connected to another man, where they felt comfortable with them, they chatted with them, they laughed at their jokes. And I know that a lot of people get uncomfortable when people laugh at other people's jokes because they say, oh, what's happening here, especially the women. But what they found was that for a man, the thought of the other man or their partner having sex with another man was infuriating and very distressful, whereas for them to have a friendship with another man was okay. Whereas women, on the other hand, they got extremely distressed when they saw their man chatting to another woman, but were less distressed at the fact that they may be having sex with another woman, which means that we're wired differently. It's interesting just to try and understand that. But for a woman, their jealousy is inflamed at just seeing a man having an emotional bond. And you see it all the time, like in Facebook, you'll have people liking your posts, and before you know it, all the women are bloody chatting away and thinking that you're playing hide the sausage with some of your friends because they like your posts. Whereas men don't think like that, I don't think. But who knows? Who knows how it all works out? But the evolutionary psychologists have some reasons for it. And the reasons that they say are that, so these are evolutionary psychologists, it's a particular form of psychology. And they say that we all have this unconscious programming that happens deep in our primitive brains, which we're not really aware of at the conscious level, but we're victim to it. So what we're saying here is that men have an unconscious desire to propagate their genes, which leads to sexual jealousy. It's an evolutionary reflex. It's something that happens which you're not aware you're not aware of it happening. It just happens. So when people get jealous and they can't rationalise it, you can't stop it. And you know people around you who sometimes get jealous, and you can just see that they're on fire and they just can't snap out of it. But what the author here is saying is that it's all based on our genes, and it's all very, very deep in our subconscious. And we're triggered, men and women are triggered differently to react, not to respond, but to react to these things, because it inflames some primitive thing that we have happening in our lives. Because at the end of the day, a man and a woman can have sex and not propagate other children, with with protection and all of those sorts of things. So a man and a woman can have sex and not have children. Whereas in our previous lives, when we were thousands and thousands of years ago, when we were developing according to these evolutionary psychologists, what they're saying is that it was more important for a man back then to ensure that their women were not being bonked by others, because if they're being bonked by others, then their genes are not getting propagated and passed on. So it's an interesting sort of concept, but we'd probably need a few beers and a few wines to mull over it and think about it and talk about it, but I guess it makes sense at the theoretical level. So the next point that the author makes is another very touchy subject. A lot of touchy subjects here. Is that a gender? Because what they're saying is that families over the years, over the generations, have had preferences in terms of what sort of gender they wanted as their children. Some pride themselves on having sons, others pride themselves on having daughters. And the author is suggesting here that there is some sort of science behind that. And the evolutionary psychologists say that parents favour the gender that has the greater potential to carry on the family genes. Once again, it gets back to this basic need to propagate and to pass on the genes. It's lovely down here. It's been raining, so there's a bit of water flowing. Sometimes this water here is stagnant and not all that pretty, but today it's probably at its best that it's been for a while. So I'll just stand over here and listen to the brook just running over those rocks. So what they've said in the past is it also depends on your economic standing, and they're saying that poor families are happy. Poor families of a low status are happy having girls, because over time, over history, girls have always had a better chance of marrying somebody or getting into a family that is wealthier and can look after them. And this is before, of course, 2021, when people can be self-perpetuating in terms of their income and their careers. But what we're saying is that from a developmental perspective, but also from an evolutionary perspective, because as we're saying, a lot of this stuff is embedded in our heads, in our genes, and somehow we respond to it, or should I say we react to it without knowing, because it's a reflex. It's a reflex, and it just happens. And the other thing they talk about here is that wealthier families prefer to have boys, because by having money and power and status, they're going to be able to attract the right girls and the right women into their family to propagate the genes and pass on the genes to future generations. And they say that in days gone by, and I never knew this, but it doesn't surprise me, in days gone by, girls were killed amongst the aristocrats. The aristocratic families would kill girls, and it was very common in the old days. And that's why over time, inheritance has generally flowed to the boys and not the girls. And I know that it's been a painful and a sticking point with my family and all the Greeks that I know, how the boys get the inheritance and how the girls basically didn't get quite the inheritance that they deserved in days gone by. And hopefully times have changed. But as I say, the points that come out of here is that circumstances change, but genetically our conditioning and what drives us is a subconscious sort of instinct which propels us. It's a reflex that propels us to favour certain children or certain genders because of this propagation sort of mentality that was important once upon a time for our survival. Not important now, but once upon a time it was important for our survival. So it's important to make that distinction, that sometimes things happen for a reason which we don't understand, but it's real. And the last point to come out of this book is that our morality is driven by our needs. Now that we've got a need to be altruistic and to be as good as we can, and it's self-serving. We're going to understand that by me being good to you and by me helping you, a lot of it is done for altruistic reasons. We're doing it so we can get it in return. So the author here talks about the fact that a lot of the things we do, a lot of the things we say, a lot of our behaviours, a lot of our cultural imprinting and patterning is caused because we do things to establish a debt in our favour. Now, I'll do you a favour knowing that one day you may have to help me out or pay me back. I'll shout your lunch today knowing that, who knows, one day I may blow all my money and I'll need help, and you may see me on the street and offer a helping hand. So a lot of the stuff that we do is done with an end in mind, according to what this author is saying. And once again, this also could be reflex, it could be part of our evolutionary development. Now, I help you build your village, you help me build my village, and we protect each other against other attackers, and so forth, and so on and so forth. And the other thing also is that regardless of what people say in terms of I don't bloody care. You hear it all the time, I don't care what people think, I don't care what people say. But deep down, we do care. The fact that we say that we don't care means that we do care. Otherwise, we wouldn't be saying that we don't care, we wouldn't even be thinking about it. So what we're saying here is that a lot of us care what other people think about us. And because we want to be connected, and the more visible you are, the more you're connected, then the more pressure you have on being being morally upright and doing the right things, because you're under the constant gaze of people around you who are judging you, who are giving you pats on the back, and who are basically supporting you, I guess, along the way. So in order to be a good family man and to be a statesman or a statesperson, then you need to do the right thing. I work with a fellow at work who, amongst his community, he's a chief, and he's always talking about how it's important to be upright and to do the right thing, because you're a role model to other people, you're a role model to the children, you're a role model to other family members, to other young people who want to grow up and be a chief one day as well. So it's all about fulfilling a role and by setting an example. So I guess that's it. Thank you very much for joining me on this other Jim's 5am Club. It's at the end of the day. The birds are just screeching as they're planning to head back head back to their trees where they'll roost for the night. And let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, and most importantly, I hope you enjoyed your Valentine's Day. And I say it to all my young friends, people who are young and in the early days of their relationships. I always make a point to remind people that you get but one chance to get it right in your life, and you basically need to do whatever you have to do to get things right with your partner, to respect them, to look after them, and to not give them a reason to get sick of you and to want to leave you and part with you. There's always chances, of course, of finding love again, but those chances are less probable. So as I say to everybody who gets married, especially my cousins, and hopefully a lot of them will remember my words, I tell them, don't stuff this up. Do whatever you have to do to keep the relationship alive, keep the flame alive, even though you're going to go through torrential rain, you're going to be facing gusty tornado style of headwinds along the way, but your job is to keep it going, stay committed, and provide hope to your family, to your friends, to the generations who have come before you and the generations who are coming after you, because everybody's looking for somebody to be a role model, a standard for them to look up to. And just like this bush here, I guess in a similar sort of fashion, each of our relationships with our partners are quite similar. Now, we've had some good times and some bad times, but we all get through those tough times. And by getting through those tough times, with a bit of patience, the grass starts growing back, the foliage on the trees start to generate. Although the blackness of the stumps will remain, then but that's just part of growing up, part of living in a relationship, because none of us are perfect. And as my spiritual father says, we're going to be letting ourselves down every single day. We're going to be letting our partners down every single day. So regardless of what you promise, regardless of what you think you're going to do, regardless of what your intentions are, sooner or later you're going to be stuffing up. So the call to action from my spiritual father, and sorry that this is getting a little bit longer than normal, is to seek and offer forgiveness on a daily basis. So seek forgiveness from your partner and offer forgiveness to your partner, because we're stuffing up every day. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. I look forward to coming to you again tomorrow from a different location with a different message, a message of empowerment, where we can hopefully learn something new and be the wind beneath our wings and help us get through the morning, get through the day, get through the week, to learn something new so that we can all live, learn and pass it on and be each other's support and nurturers. So thank you once again, and I'll head back out here now so I can get back to the car before it gets too dark. Kita leme. Bye for now. Filakia from Jim's 5 a.m. Club. Yasas. Bye.